So that being said, that was something I wanted to ask, and unfortunately, we're a little bit further down the road now. So I apologize if you've already answered this question before. But when you saw Jon Jones get in there and have his successful fight against Mauricio Shogun Rua, were you happy for him when he won? I mean, I know that this was a title shot that you were anticipating getting, and this was Jon Jones in there taking this title shot rather than you. Were you happy for him at that moment?
Yeah, man, I was cheering for him like a high school cheerleader, and it was hard because who was parents was like him was right in front of me, so I was trying not to like cheer too hard, but I was happy for him. I knew that once he had that fight, I knew he was gonna win it. And yeah, I was happy that he definitely he did his thing out there. I mean, I'm happy with how far he's been progressing and his growth in the sport.
Now, Rashad, there's a lot of things to kind of consider here. You've actually been a subject of the show for a better part of a year because of your decision to wait for a title shot, something that Dana thought was a mistake. But I had been actually a very vocal proponent of that, saying that I think it was the right move to make because you look at someone like Carl Parisian, who was injured and was supposed to get a title shot against Matt Hughes and has never gotten a shot since. And I have always said that I thought that was the right move. But now, looking at what has happened, what has transpired, where you went from getting a title shot to having to wait a long time to get it, to not getting it, to feeling maybe bamboozled and all that other sort of thing. If you had to do it all over again, would you have waited or would you have taken another fight?
I still would have waited. I think there's besides the fact that I didn't get to fight, I think there's other things that I got to accomplish in the whole time while I was off. As far as like doing personal business stuff that I want to do outside of fighting when all fighting is said and done. I mean, you think about it, a lot of professional athletes, they never really get a chance to see what they can do outside of the sport while they're in the sport because the sport keeps them so busy. You take football players, for instance, right after they get done with the season, they get a few weeks off and then they're right in spring training again. So they don't really get time off to really capitalize on a celebrity and furthermore, get to capitalize on, the connections that they made and see what other business opportunities out there for them. So with me not having to, not being able to fight and not having to fight on the menu, I was able to capitalize on my celebrity and meet people who can, be business partners later on down the road and just set things up down the line for me. But I didn't miss fighting. That was the only hardest part about it was just the fact that I just missed fighting. There's something about fighting for me that is kind of healing in a way. And that's the part I miss about fighting.
Now, a couple of weeks before Jon Jones won the title, we had Trevor Whitman on the show, and Trevor's such an awesome guy, and he always has a lot of great things to say about you. But before anything even seemed like a tinkling of any kind of problems between you and Jon happened, he had mentioned that he was going to go to you and say that if Jon Jones wins the title, that he thought that you should fight him. Did he have that conversation with you? Because I remember we were talking to him, and it was like revolutionary when he said it, because no one had even broached the subject thinking that was ever going to happen. And he said, I'm going to tell Rashad that he needs to go for it, and it's just, it's a sport, it's a business. Did he ever have that conversation with you? And if he did, what did you think about that?
Yeah, he did have a conversation with me, and when he said it, I was so at the time just like, you know what, I'm going to stay true to my promise, because I made a pact that I wouldn't fight Jon and we wouldn't fight each other. To me, that meant something, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the criticism that I'm going to get for doing it, but I'm going to keep to my word. My word was that I said I wouldn't fight him, and I'm going to give him the same respect that I was expecting him to give me. So, if I would have won it, then I would have expected him not to say he's going to fight me, because that's what we agreed to. So I'll be a hypocrite if I turn around and be like, okay, well, now you win it, I'm going to fight you now. But I took it on the chin. Dana White made, public announcement like, Rashad is dodging guys, it's making it hard for us to get him opponents. And I took that on the chin. I was like, okay, whatever. But the part that changed my mind about fighting Jon was how Jon went about it. Jon went about it, and he said that he would fight me. And I was like, well, damn, dude, at least if you're going to say something like that, at least you could call me or text me and let me know that you changed your mind and you would fight me now. Because before that, it was like nah, we'll never fight each other. We'll never fight each other. And you can check, some of the things he said, in January interviews. He said, he did a whole campaign about him not fighting me and us not fighting each other. And then he goes and do a complete 180 and then said he would fight me. That's what Dana said so, But of course Dana's going to say so. Dana's a promoter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Dana cares about putting the best fights on for fans. So, of course, he's going to say so. So, for him saying that, if Dana say so, that's like a disclaimer, like the boss made me do it. But really, he really wants to fight.
Well, yeah, and I can say about a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago, when Pat Barry was still co-hosting with me, we had John on and asked him about that, and he said, listen, Rashad, he kept bringing your name up, and we weren't even bringing your name up. He kept saying Rashad brought me in there. It's beyond that. $1 million, I wouldn't do it. A title fight, wouldn't do it. All this other thing. So I understand where you're coming from. He did recently say, though, in some quotes, and it seems like he's mostly speaking through Malky now, not so much for himself, but through his manager Malky, that he doesn't care if you win or lose against Phil Davis. He does want you next. But also that, if you wanted to fight him before the end of the year or whatever, that, if you'd get out of your fight with Phil, that you would fight him, he would fight you next. What do you think about that particular statement?
Me and John had a tentative date scheduled, and I know it's because we had the same management team. It was in Denver. It was in September. Upon that date being tentatively scheduled, Malky and his manager, and John, decided that John needed to forego a thumb surgery, which he didn't need, which didn't inhibit him becoming a world champion, but all of a sudden he needed his thumb surgery. Thus, after that, he did not get the surgery, but they already pulled out of the fight and said he won't be able to fight. So, given all of that, given what I just said, it doesn't seem like John really wants to fight me at all, because he had an opportunity to fight me, but he decided to pass it up to get some elective surgery, which he didn't have. So everything that he says after this is now, it's now after the fact, and it really doesn't matter to me. Right now, I'm focused on Phil Davis, and Phil Davis deserves my respect and deserves my full attention, because you know what? This kid is no joke. Jon Jones, he had his chance. Jon Jones, if he really thought he was as great as he was, then he would have took the fight. You know what I'm saying? It didn't stop him from becoming world champion. So what if he's so great, if he's so good, if he could smash me and do everything else he says he can do, then he would have took the fight. But the simple fact that he took the fight, it allows me and it makes me believe that that's not the case. That's not what he believes truly.
Let's shotgun through a couple of these. Malky and Glenn Robinson used to have this kind of super organization with a crap ton of fighters. And right around the same time that you had the falling out with Jon Jones, the group kind of split. And of course you left, Jackson. So there was a lot of splitting, a lot of people kind of going separate ways around the same time as you and John kind of having your differences. Do you think it's all interrelated, or do you think it's just all circumstantial?
Everything is related to something. You know what I'm saying? It happens like that. But to be honest, I think that probably, me and Malky had a disagreement, and they kind of like soured the whole relationship with in a lot of ways. Malky was very vocal and saying things as such as like Jon Jones is going to destroy me and stuff like that, when he's supposed to be representing me. And he's saying it's people that he doesn't know who these people are, and he's speaking loud because Malky has a very big mouth, and he just wants to be heard more than it makes sense. So he'll say things to people, and then people that I know will get back to me like, listen, bro, I really care about you, and I hope that I don't think you're being represented in the right light. You need to talk to your management team or get a new managers. And they wouldn't tell me what they meant because they didn't want to cause any conflict. They just told me what I need to know. And then one of my friends pulled me to the side, like, listen, you need to address this Malky. If Malky is your manager, he needs to go around. You need to stop going around saying that he represents you in one breath, and then the next breath saying that Jon Jones is going to destroy you. Whether he believes that or not, that's irrelevant. The simple fact that he's going around saying he represents you, and then he's spitting venom on your name, when in reality, if he's got two clients, he should, on the outside, at least look like he's representing them both to their fullest and not putting one above the other. You know what I'm saying? So that caused a big conflict in the whole situation.
Last question kind of on this subject. Cage Potato has posted a picture, because I guess there was you and Jon Jones texted each other back and forth, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I understand that you guys used to train, so obviously you have each other's number, but there's an exchange going back and forth, and somehow a screenshot of Jon Jones' phone numbers ended up on CagePotato.com, something about you called Jon Jones a fake-ass white boy, which I don't know why that's a big deal, but that seems to be a big deal amongst the blogs. So can you kind of comment on that? True, false, indifferent, that sort of thing?
No, yeah, I did say it to him, but he also said a lot of things to me that I didn't want to put on. So I didn't want to put his text out there. But I mean, we were arguing. I said a lot of things, heated back and forth. You know what I'm saying? But I did call him a fake ass white boy. I did, but I don't think being a white boy is anything bad. And if people took offense to being a white boy, then they must not think, about being white.
Some of my favorite people are white.
I mean, it's an insult to him because, of course, he's not white. So you can see where the insult comes in. That's the extent to the insult right there. It's not anything against white people. It's an insult. He's black, and I called him white. So therefore, as any normal black person, that will infuriate him, which it did. And he did. It showed that it made him mad because he posted it on the internet. I mean, first of all, what kind of move is that anyway? That's like high school. Like, I mean, not even high school. That's like grade school. Look at what Rashad said to me. Look at everyone. Look. Can you believe he said this to me? Like, seriously, dude. So. I mean, what am I gonna do? Show my mom because Jon Jones said that he would destroy me and said a bunch of mean things to me? I'm gonna call my mother up. So how old? I mean, what's the mindset here? I mean, if I offend anybody by calling Jon Jones a fake ass white boy, I deeply do apologize, but I don't have a problem with white people. You know what I'm saying? It's just some of my best friends are white. I'm using
That's what I'm saying.
White people say.
I grew up.
I'm using line that white people say to me. Some of my best friends are white. No, but in all honesty, though, there's no problem against white people. It's just the simple fact that it was an insult, and I called him white because to be a black person, be called something that you're not is very offensive, and you know what I'm saying? The N-word was already taken care of everything. You know what I'm saying? If I call him N-word, like, whatever.
Well, let's move past that, man. Here's something because you segued right into it. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't want to take you all day, and I will. So let me, take me on this. I'm actually really excited about this. Can you do the impression of your mother talking about Jon Jones first and then Phil Davis? Because I'm gonna tell you something. We do that at my house all the time at the UFC events. Rob can vouch for this. We come over and we say, "Yo, Will Rashad." Yo, and I love it. I love it. Could you please bless us with something like that?
Yeah. See, Rashad, you got to watch out for Jon Jones. Rashad, you see the way he was on Matt Hamill? Rashad, Matt Hamill can't hear. He knew that boy couldn't hear when he was hitting him, and the referee said that's illegal. Rashad, he is dirty, Rashad. He is dirty. And Rashad, why don't you text him too? Because he will put it on the internet, Rashad. And Rashad, the only reason why he pulled out the fight is because he wanted to see you fight Phil Davis. See, Phil Davis, Rashad, Phil is good. Phil is good, and he's hungry, Rashad. He is hungry.